I had a $30,000 Airbnb deal that went completely sour. Okay, and today I'm going to be sharing that story with you so that you can hopefully learn from it. You'll get all of the juicy details about the furniture that's being held hostage, the money that's being held hostage, the lawsuits that are on the horizon, and hopefully, you can take something from this and not run into the same mistakes that I ran into. Trust me, it is not fun, and I want you to learn from my experience. My name is Khalil Gonzalez. Thank you for tuning in to KGB&B. This is my YouTube channel debut, so stick with me. I'm still a novice. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm never here to brag or boast, but my fiance and I have been in Airbnb for about, I want to say 7 months now. We got our home in November. We went live on Airbnb on Christmas of 2021, and we've been live ever since. We have about 95% occupancy. We've branded our home Casablanca ATL. Definitely look us up. I'll drop a link in the bio or the description. There'll be a link there so that you can check out our listing. It sleeps 16 people. There are 4 bedrooms. It has numerous beds. I want to say about 9 beds. We built a custom theater with a 70-inch TV, Dolby digital sound system. We converted our entire garage into this theater. Our guests absolutely love it. We have a 7-person hot tub in our courtyard area. Beautiful, beautiful greenery in the courtyard. It's about 3,000 square feet of a house, and it's sitting on 10,000 square feet of land. And we have about 4.95 star rating, and we appear in Airbnb search near the top of search rankings. So we're one of the top Airbnbs here in Atlanta. I'm happy to say that we're generating about $14,000 in monthly rental income. Pretty hefty of a revenue for a house of its size, and we're just getting started. So our first home was, and is successful, and we fully anticipated that our second property would be a home run, right? We already solidified our playbook. We know that it has to do with amenities, location, your aesthetic, right? You have to have good imagery, you have to have bomb copy, and you need to ensure that you have a really solid pricing strategy. So all of these things we understand very well, and it's what made our first home so successful. So Casablanca is doing really well because we really put that extra effort into it, and we made sure that we continue to test and learn through the different strategies that we were implementing. So our second home, right, we did not expect it to turn into such a freaking shit show, right? Oh God. So $30,000 down the drain. Let's talk about how we got there. So we have a neighbor, which is the person who we had gone into business with, right? So she's a former partner of ours. She now owes us $30,000, and she's threatening to file suit. How did we get there? I'll call her Michelle. Michelle owns the house right next door to Casablanca, right? It's also a 3,000 square foot bungalow that was built in the 1930s. It's 5 bedrooms, right? The basement is mostly unfinished, and it's massive. Okay, and we knew that we wanted another home of the same size as Casablanca. We also knew that we wanted to convert her unfinished business or unfinished basement to another theater, right? We went bigger with the 75-inch TV. We have a Sound by Sonos sound bar that's in the theater. We have red velvet curtains, really great lighting in there, a couch that has a pull-out bed, in addition to other features of that theater that makes it very wholesome and gives you that movie theater vibe. We also purchased a hot tub for the home as well. We knew that we wanted to sleep about 14 guests in that home, and we do that so that once you take our nightly rate and divide it out by, let's just say, 14 guests, you get to a very low cost per guest, which is very palatable for guests. They're okay spending the extra money on a big house because ultimately you'll be dividing it by a very high denominator, which is 14 to 16 people in our case. So we had the game plan there. We talked this over with Michelle. She was bought into it. And on May 27th, we handed over $18,405 in cash, right? That was a Friday. I don't bank locally. I didn't have the ability to wire her the money, but I wanted her to know out of good faith, here's the $18,405 that you wanted up front so that we can close this deal and lock it in, right? We were super excited and ready to go. So on May 27th, we actually did not get the finalized copies of the lease, nor did we get the finalized copy of our operating agreement to formulate the LLC. We didn't get these finalized pieces of paperwork because we made more edits to the documents, right? We had to go through a redlining process and ensure that all of the documents said exactly what we wanted them to say. So that was May 27th. We handed over money on May 27th. And then all of June, Ebony and I, right, my fiance and I, we spent the whole month pouring in sweat equity into this property to get it up and running so that we can get going as quickly as possible. As part of the initial deal, right, that 18,405 was a calculation of 5,500 that would be paid to Michelle each month, which included $2,900 mortgage and $2,600 in profit payouts for a fixed payout to her of $5,500. So we wouldn't have to pay her any more than that except for cleanings. She agreed to do 10 cleanings per month at $200 per clean. So at the max, we were looking to pay Michelle $7,500, right? That's $5,500 plus $2,000 in cleanings. But she would only be paid cleanings after the cleaning is done. So that 18,405 was essentially 3 months of upfront payouts, right? $5,500 times 3, because we were prepaying July, August, and September. As part of that 18,405, we also threw in a portion of Michelle's mortgage, right? She wanted that as an escrow down payment just to hold so that she could have that back pocket in the event that something went wrong. So all of June, Ebony and I are spending countless hours in that home. We're painting, we're constructing the theater, we're buying furniture, we're setting up the furniture. We spent $13,000 on furniture. This included a $4,000 hot tub, a $1,500 8-foot long table, very luxurious table that can seat 10 people. We also had the theater, right? The theater sound system and TV all came up to about $3,500 when you include the accent wall that we built. I mean, this theater was going to be decked out, right? We wanted to give it the works so that we could reap the return on investment on the back end. We knew that the house could potentially generate about $12,000 in revenue per month because we already had a baseline. We already have this property right next door that's generating $14,000 per month. Let's fast forward to July 1st. Remember, on May 27th, we paid Michelle $18,405 and we were guaranteeing runway of July, August, September. She waived June, so that wasn't even part of the question. On July 1st, when we're already 1 month into doing work on Michelle's house, she comes to the house and says, okay, time for rent, time to pay up, right? Essentially saying that on top of the $5,500, she wanted an additional $2,900 for mortgage, meaning that she wanted every month her fixed payout to be $8,400, okay? For a 1930s home that still needed work. Ebony and I were under the full impression that we would only have to pay Michelle $5,500 per month plus the $2,000 in cleaning fees that would come on a ad hoc basis of $200 per clean. So, oh my, we've already invested $13,000 into the project because we want it to go live as quickly as possible. So we're out of pocket $30,000 here, right? And then on July 1st, she tells us that she actually wants $8,400 in fixed upfront payments. Completely crazy to us, a number that we had never heard of ever throughout all of our dealings. And it essentially took a turn for the worse. So on the very next day, July 2nd, I sent Michelle an email and I basically said, hey, we're willing to pay $7,500 in fixed payouts per month, right? This is $7,500 despite if she does 1 clean, despite if she does 8 cleans, or if she does 10 cleans, right? We're paying her $7,500 flat every month as part of a fixed expense that we're willing to eat, right? And then essentially Ebony and I would take the remaining money and make do with it. And we were essentially okay with this deal because we knew that on the back end, we were going to sell this property at 10x the annualized revenue. We knew that Michelle wanted out, right? She wanted to cash her check from the sale of this property and move on to another project. She didn't want to own this house for forever. So we saw this as a 12 to 15 month deal where she would be making $5,500 per month plus the $2,000 in cleanings, and Ebony and I would essentially take the rest of that, which is about $3,000 or so, and we'll be okay with that cash flow. Even though our other home, Casablanca, we keep about $6,000 to $7,000 per month. So we were okay with this $3,000 in cash flow because we knew that we wanted to sell the property at 10 times the $144,000 in annual revenue that we'd be producing. So if we were to sell it at $1.44 million, Michelle was entitled to $570,000, meaning that there was a pot of money left over of about $800,000 or so. Ebony and I agreed to split that pot 55-45, with Michelle taking the lion's share, right? She was going to be taking roughly $1 million from this sale of the property. Ebony and I would take about $400,000. So despite us making, $3,000 per month, we knew that on the back end, we'd be making about $400,000 or so. So we were very comfortable with this deal. We knew exactly how we should execute. But because Michelle thought that she would be making $8,400 per month, instead of the $7,500 that we, were willing to pay her, she felt like we were going back on our deal. So at this very moment, she's holding our $18,405 hostage. She also has furniture of ours still at her house that she would not allow us to come get. And as you can see here, this blue chair, this blue canvas behind me, all furniture pieces that we were supposed to put in the house. Remember, the name of this house was Casa Azul, right? We were going to brand it the Blue House. So we already bought a ton of furniture that we now have nothing, like no place for it to go. We still have furniture over at her house that we cannot get access to. And we have $18,405 that is still in this woman's possession that she is reluctant to let go of. So it's likely that it's going to turn into a lawsuit, right? So some of the lessons here: never do business with people who you are not 1,000% sure of. Definitely not people who are temperamental. Also, never hand over cash in the amount of $18,000 to a person who has not agreed to any paperwork, right? So we never actually got the signed documentation because we started to make changes to the document, although we were at the closing table and she was looking to take $18,405 from us as a down payment. Never do that. You want to get paperwork signed up front so that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Third lesson here is to not start working on a property until you have your paperwork. Also, you want to get your attorneys involved as soon as possible so that you can actually have professionals look into your paperwork and understand what it is that you're signing. And lastly, subscribe to this channel. There's going to be a lot more very helpful guidance that we're continuing to provide. I'll let you know how this plays out, and we're going to continue to scale our portfolio because we're just getting started. So subscribe, lock in with us, continue to build with us. We're looking forward to continuing to share our journey. Welcome to KGB&B. Take care.